Right, so this is the Joseph Tota, a 60-litre laundry basket. Now, we're going to be unboxing this today, and then I'm going to be assembling it with you to show you the process. One thing I will say, this is not the first time I've built one of these. We do own the 90-litre version, which I've got to say has been absolutely fantastic, but assembly isn't fun. I warn you now, it's quite a fiddly process, and yeah, fortunately, it is a one-time thing. Once you've assembled it, you won't need to do it again. So hopefully we'll be able to push through it together. So let's go ahead, get this unboxed and get on with the assembly. First off, it looks like we have the tote bags themselves. So these are great because it means you don't have to carry the hamper itself around with you when you are doing the laundry. Just pop these in and out as need be. Yeah, it looks like they're both in this bag. So I'll keep them in here for now and then we'll set them up later. Down here in this tube, we have the main fabric for the basket itself. So it's all wrapped up here, but this will be kept rigid by the frame once that's in place. And there we have the top and the bottom section. Now, also included in the package is the little assembly manual, along with the Allen key tool that is going to be required and some feet. And if we just go ahead now and unwrap the tubing here, we can see, as I mentioned, that we have the outer fabric for the main build, but also inside this we have the rods that are going to form the main frame, okay, and give us that stability. And there you go, you should have 4 of them. And then inside that final bag we have the top, the lid, along with the top and bottom sections of the frame, and then finally the frame sections for the tote bags. Okay, so step 1 of the assembly, you are going to take the top section of the hamper frame. Okay, so this is the section with the 2 cutouts for the tote bags. Turn it around so that we have the perforated face here, and then in each corner you can see we have a hole. Okay, so 4 of those, and we're going to take the rods one at a time and just screw those down into those holes. So no tool required for this. Okay, so with all 4 of the rods screwed down, we're just going to pop the frame on the floor for now. So this is the fabric to the frame that was rolled up. And just a word of note, the Joseph logo, which you can see here, it's important that this is not positioned over one of the corners. And also remember, the whole thing is upside down now. So make sure when you're putting the bag on, the logo is also positioned upside down. Just make sure you position the bag over all 4 of the rods. You might have to stretch it a little bit in order to get it to fit nicely over there, especially over the last one. There we go, but that's still the easy part. And now we take the bottom section of the frame. Again, pay attention to this side with the perforations, and that's because you can also see around here, this line, that's going to be the lip to which we fold the fabric here into. Bit of a pain. That is actually the worst part of this assembly. Now, to make this a little bit easier, I do recommend just pulling the current fabric frame down over those poles so that we can access them a little better there. Okay, just line those up, push them down so that they are secured. And as you can see, I've done that now, and the whole basket is somewhat stable. And so now here is where the fun begins. We have to lift the fabric over and fold it into this lip, this line that goes all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to try and guide you through this as best as possible here on camera. Remember, we're going to have to do it on the bottom and on the top. So, for starters, we need to get the fabric here above the plastic frame. And I find that if you struggle to do this, see how it can sometimes get just a little bit stuck because it is a tight fit. Just push the fabric out from the middle and lift it over that way, okay? So if I show you on this end here, by pushing the fabric out over here, I'll just use this hand to try and unravel it. There we go. It is starting to come above. And then we can just do that all the way around. And trust me, this is the easy part. The difficult bit's coming up in a minute or so as we try and get the fabric down into the lip of the frame. Okay, now I've probably got it up a little bit too much there. We've I'd say about 1 centimetre, whereas I've got about 2 centimetres. So I'm just going to push this down a touch on some of these corners where it is lifted quite high. There we go, that's looking more ideal now. And yeah, as I've mentioned, this is where the fun begins. So I'm going to start with the corner, and we're just going to fold this fabric into the lip around the outer edge here. Or the inner edge, I should say, from our perspective, but the outer edge of the frame. And as I've got that folded into place, I'll just tug a little bit on the outside of the fabric to make sure that it goes in flush. And then it's just a case of working our way around. So the next part, this section here, won't actually be all that difficult. But as we get to the final corner, that's where things are going to be a bit of a sweat inducer. So I'm just going to continue working around here. Again, just tug down on the inside there as you line this up. If it's not quite going in to position, I find that that can help just a touch to make sure that it is set up correctly. And then I'll just rub my finger, or my thumb rather, along the edge, just to ensure that it is all in correct and accounted for. And I'll just show you that a little bit up close. Okay, so I'm happy with that. With that done, we're going to flip it over the whole basket and repeat the process, but because we now have it tightly connected to the bottom, we have a little bit less leeway here on the top. So this is definitely the hardest part of the job, which is to effectively, first of all, lift the fabric above the top of the frame here, again by about 1.5 centimetres. And once more, I'm just working this from the inside rather than trying to pull it up from the outside, as your fingers tend to get trapped doing it that way, at least in my experience. There we go, and now I've got just enough fabric there on the top to start pulling it up a little bit more. Right, as you can see, that's all I've got to work with now. That's as high up as it will go, okay, but that should be enough. The only thing I'm not happy with is that the logo is not going to be quite centre when we look at the basket, but I'll tell you what, it's just going to have to do, because it would mean having to take out the fabric from the bottom and then moving it all around in order to reposition it, which, to be honest with you, I'm not going through all that effort. I'm too lazy. So now I'm just going to finish up by, again, starting on one of the corners here, folding that over, and then just working my way around the whole of the top of the basket. So there we go. Using those few tips I've just shared with you, I was able to get that done first time without too much stress. We're just going to turn this upside down again. You can see on the frame we have these 4 holes, which we've seen before, okay, 1 in each corner. We're going to take the Allen key tool that was included, and we're just going to tighten those. So just pop that in to all 4 one at a time until it clicks into place. There we go. And then it's just a case of clockwise turn, and eventually you will feel that catch just like that. So I'm not going to over tighten it. And then with those 4 feet, we can push those into position as well. There we go. Let's turn this now the right way up. So here's the first bag of 2. Here's the frame for that bag. As you can see, it has the Velcro here on the outside. And there we have the Velcro counterpart on the bag itself. So what I'm going to do is, starting on an end here, and then the end of the Velcro, put that in the middle of the end of the frame section, and then start working that around. Fortunately, this is a lot easier than the actual basket itself. Just make sure that the handles don't get caught as you're going around there. There we go. And the same process again for the second bag. And there we have it. The 60 litre Tota laundry basket from Joseph is now ready for the laundry. Okay guys, I've got to say, it wasn't as bad as I remember this process, having learned a few lessons from the last time I did it. Hopefully some of those lessons will be helpful to you as well as you build your Joseph laundry basket. So thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you next time.